I think it goes beyond what Peace Monday wants to do and what ADB wants to do. I think it relates to any kind of violence. I think the effort of both the individuals, Jeremy and the Right Honourable Baron of Scotland, is to create a more peace and tranquil environment, which we think begins from home, and therefore that's where EDB comes in. But from home it rolls on into society and the larger world. And that's where I think that we have the role of the Peace Monday coming in. So I think therefore it is the integration, the amalgamation of the society or the family where it begins, and the larger platform, the world, where you come out. Various statistics will prove that people that come from broken homes, that come from homes that have had some kind of domestic violence, really in larger parts of the life that they play, have problems, personality problems, have problems that relate into some kind of violence. And therefore the integration of the family front and the larger platform of the world to be integrated together by such a collaborative movement, I think is essential for a larger peace formula, let's say, to work in the world. And therefore it is, there is no other way to deal with an environment of peace and tranquility. If this has to be, if there has to be a punchline that gets us to all the people think the same line, it has to begin from home. That results which show will have better people that think about peace, like-minded people, and that think about a large environment which is peaceful, so to say. And that's where Peace Monday comes into being, to make them realize that there could be a peaceful world that you would love more and better than the world that you are in. And I think that's why the collaboration is so important.
And you've really touched on this, but today we are, honoured to have here organisations working to reduce and eradicate domestic violence in their respective territories and some international. But this idea of a coalition, this bringing together, the show of unity, what kind of message do you think that will send out to the world?
I think there was a sense of pulse with Richard. I think you also felt while being in the hall that you could feel that the unity was created. It was not with the powerful people or the personalities that were there in the hall, but it was the great synergy of thought. It was the great the modulation that got all of these things together that you could feel. I could feel, I could see it in people's expressions. When panelists were speaking, they were talking about what's happening in Australia, what's happening in India, what's happening in Nigeria, what's happening in England, and how all of that, irrespective of which country they belong to, how it just related together. So I think that the coalition has brought a very, very powerful, significant impact on bringing about peace in the world. And I think that this is only an initiation. I think this coalition is only going to another seat of power, another seat of accumulated wealth of people that are willing to contribute, whether they're heads of government or whether they're heads of business enterprises or whether they are individuals, as I said, bringing from the unit of a family to the larger society. And I think that the coalition brings that sense of awareness, the sense of being able to contribute, and the sense of actually already seeing the footprints of Peace Monday, what they've done, and the statistics that showed the difference that EDV has made in Spain and England, that it can make a difference. And I think that this coalition has brought the combined results of both the organizations to make people aware that it's really a powerful enterprise to come up with.
And have you been able to think of ways in which you as an individual might be able to reach out to your own networks to encourage people?
I think I can answer that in two formats. One in terms of Peace Monday and the other in terms of EDB. I think nearly about a year ago I met Baron of Scotland and she asked me, Amreesh, can you save lives? And I said, I don't know, but I think I can contribute by bringing about a program in schools because I'm an educationist by teaching and making people sensitive, young boys and young girls, towards the eradication of domestic violence. And above all, by promoting the education of the girl child, which in Southeast Asia is an extremely important aspect that will be the ultimate factor that eliminate domestic violence as far as the EDV is concerned. As an Indian, it really makes me feel proud that organizations, and of course, very dearly known to me, Sari and Parivar, are contributing to the cause of Peace One Day in EDV. And I think that's an extremely good example to showcase across the world of what Corporate Alliance can do in eradicating violence of any kind. On the other format, in terms of my commitment and what I can do, when I first met Jeremy, it was at the Brussels Peace Summit, and that was the first time I heard of it. The first time I saw the movie on Peace One Day, and I think it really moved me. And from that very instance, the Baron Scotland being so close to me as a friend, I always thought that there would be a powerful combination to come along with. And I think there is a school contact program that is valid even for a Peace One Day approach. I know that Jeremy already has one afloat, but I think it's time to take the school contact program into India and the Southeast Asia corridor, which we know is, let's say, needs it more than many other parts of the world.
And do you think people will join in? Do you think people will respond favourably?
I think that question is already answered with the kind of footprints that we've seen in today's function, in functions held elsewhere, in functions held in South Africa, in functions held in Brussels, in functions held recently in India on the EDV format. I think the kind of request that Jeremy and Baroness Scotland get to come and sort out issues by heads of countries, by heads of enterprises, is phenomenal. That shows a very large number of people that believe that they can contribute towards a change, that believe that Jeremy, Peace One Day, and Baroness Scotland and EDV are making a contribution. Otherwise, I don't think really people want to contribute time, so to say, as a resource for anything that is not bringing about the desired results. I think there is no question whether people will join in. I think now the question is how many will join in? How many can the movement accommodate across the globe? Does it set off a world record? Does it set off the number of families and people and girls and children and boys and teachers and students and enterprises? And how do we address all of that? How do we allow each one of them, scripted, for them to be able to play an effective role? I think that's a larger challenge that we have as panelists, as people supporting the causes, to figure out. I think it's not a question of how will they join in.
How important is raising awareness of issues of domestic violence in the context of a greater peace, a world peace, sustainable peace?
I think it comes from my first answer to you, that it does begin at home. And therefore, in order to get world peace, we will have to see that the corridors at home and the backyards at home are violence-free. We need to see that today's children are brought up in an environment that teaches them love and care and sensitivity, that teaches them the art of giving and the art of tolerance, much more than appreciating any other aspects of life. And that should be the principle on which at least schools that we do, schools that we run, have built up on these pillars with the the faith and the hope and the courage that will imbibe in these kids the aspiration for a more peaceful world. So it has to dovetail into a larger policy from the family format, going into the society, and then going into the individual acts that each person performs, being a husband, being a brother, being a captain of an industry, in taking this good sense of well-being and peace forward. And I think that therefore results in world peace, in a more peaceful environment.
People might think that a campaign, people who hear about a campaign to reduce domestic violence, they might think that is, which it is, a campaign to stop people doing something. And therefore, well, I'm not violent, I'm not, it doesn't apply to me, so it's nothing I need to stop. So what therefore could we say to people, would you say to people, about what they can do proactively? What can they actually do on 21st September?
I think there again, I've already seen a lot of hearts being changed. I've seen lots of people coming out from the lazy couches and standing up tall and saying, you know, Jim made a kind of a donation or kind of a time devotion of 4 weeks or 4 hours a week or something of that kind that made a difference to 2 lives. So why can't Tim do it? And I think that's the neighborhood feeling which is very fast developing with the EDV concept, the Peace One Day. People are seeing within their family radius, within the radius of well-wishers and friends that are actually contributing to it, that is actually making a difference. So I think people are already standing up. I think Richard, they're already walking towards the stall and trying to say, can I register? I think that movement has already happened. The question is that we need to have a script of what each champion can bring to the table. And that's where it stands. But I think the movement of people approaching us, whether it's in EDV or Peace One Day, but to the larger peace and tranquil atmosphere in the world, I think that movement has already begun. And as far as what 21st would entail, I think each individual needs to participate in any which way they can. There's so many ways that anyone can do that. It could be just giving some very valued hours at a Mother Teresa home and trying to imbibe sensitivity in kids. It could be an orphanage. It could be a disturbed area. It could be, so many places. It could be that you could contribute in a small way or a big way. I don't think we can have a measurement of what is the perfect way to celebrate at 21st September. But it's in any which way that you contribute, that you are contributing to world peace.
And do you think that we could see a world record for the largest reduction of global violence on 21st September this year?
I absolutely believe in it. I absolutely believe in it. I absolutely believe in the movement. I absolutely believe in the individuals that are coming into it. I don't see any reason why. And I'm also very sure that it'll be us every year, year after year, beating our own records. I don't think that there is even a question on that or a doubt on that. I think the larger issue is that people themselves are going to imbibe this, are going to become a participant in this, and which will therefore always flow in numbers. That'll never be a problem for numbers.
Peace Day is 6 months from today, so it's a fair way off, but do you know what will you be doing on 21st September?
I definitely have a mission to do, as I said, committed to the EDV cause as a school contact program in India. And I also have a commitment since the time that I've come to know Jeremy. Of all the things that I would like to contribute to, there's definitely one that we want to do, and that's specifically in the light of the girl child education, that we want to launch celebrating the women in your life as a campaign in India across our schools on that particular day, generating the kind of sensitivity in every brother, every husband, every father, every male teacher, every male person in your family, in your circle, in your society, to be able to begin to respect women. And I think that that is one part of the piece that we want to put across. And that's one thing that we are committed to do. The other thing that we are really looking at doing is we really want to celebrate the largest student congress on peace on that particular day. We want to do it through a technology partner, and we want to do it the largest number of student population that is going to address being a part of a peace and well-being, Peace One Day concept on that particular day. So that's the second thing that we want to do as the largest student movement online on that particular day. To just say that the student, that is the youth of today and the generation for tomorrow, is ready to say yes, is ready to sign a pledge and say we believe in a peaceful world. So I think the girl child promotion on one side and the students movement on their side are the two things that we're definitely committed to do.